Hello and welcome back to the channel. I'm John, 2:42 marathon runner and qualified England athletics coach.
And I'm Dawn, 2:56 marathon runner and qualified England athletics coach. So in this video I'm going to take you through 5 key sessions that I did to get me into shape to run that sub-3 marathon.
So for many runners, us included, the marathon is the ultimate test of running endurance.
And the sub-3 marathon is a time that many runners aspire to hit.
To run a sub-3 marathon, most of us require a blend of endurance, speed endurance, speed and strength.
So my own personal journey to that sub-3 marathon didn't just happen. I didn't wake up one day and think I'm going to run a marathon and get into sub-3 shape. No, it took years of building blocks, years of marathons to get there. So let's hop forward to 2004.
See what she did there.
Yes, in 2004 I ran my first sub-3:15 marathon at Cardiff. It was a huge jump of 12 minutes from my previous marathon best. So then, in the spring of 2005, at London Marathon, I had another PB running 3:06. These 2 marathons were the springboard to that PB, my lifetime best of 2:56.02 that I ran in London in 2006 at the age of 42.
So if you're interested to find out what those 5 key workouts were, please give this video a like and subscribe to this channel for more marathon training and other race distances updates. So let's dive in and find out what those 5 key workouts were.
So a particular weakness of mine was my VO2 max. So the first session is 5 times 1 kilometre at 5k pace with 3-minute recoveries between each kilometre rep.
Oh my, they're long recoveries, because normally would take about 90 seconds between kilometre reps.
Yes, this was to allow me to hit my goal 5 kilometre pace and a way of unlocking my potential by improving my VO2 max for the marathon.
So for the first part of Dawn's 14-week marathon training block, she was doing VO2 max sessions such as the one she's just described.
So the second session I did was 12 times 200 metres of 200 metre jog recoveries. Now typically I would run these in 41 to 43 seconds per 200 metres, and this was to build on my basic speed. So the 200 metre jog recoveries were done at a very easy pace so that I could get up to full speed on the reps. So I noted in my diary that the final session that I did of these, I'd managed to get my reps down to about 39 seconds, which was pretty fast for me.
And therefore, the faster you're running your top end speed, that then translates down as we go through 5k pace, 10k pace, half marathon and eventual marathon pace, which unlocks more of that potential from 3:06 down to 2:56.
That's correct. So the third key session was a midweek run of between 10 and 15 miles, with 6 to 8 of those miles at marathon effort.
So how did you know what marathon effort was? Were you using some sort of heart rate monitor?
No, I was running to feel. So I used to do an undulating route. It was perceived effort and the pace was coming out average around just under 7-minute miling.
So how did that compare to your eventual marathon pace on your 2:56?
But eventually, obviously, I ran 6:45 for the marathon, so the effort on an undulating route was spot on.
Yeah, so those were simpler running days, weren't they?
Yes.
Heart rate training hadn't really taken off.
Yes.
Another key takeaway there is you're running at a perceived effort of your fitness at the time. You weren't setting some abstract marathon goal pace, a fitness you wanted to be at in 10 weeks time and rigidly sticking to that.
Very much old school running. Go out and run to feel. Get a feel for your running. Get to know what each effort feels like so that you're able to sustain that effort for the marathon. Yes, I always ran to perceived effort. It's allowed me over the years to understand how my body reacts to different effort levels.
So though we had the early versions of Garmin back then, we very much used them not to guide and dictate a run, but more to look at the data afterwards and analyse what it told us about fitness. We didn't have apps back then, no smartphones to look at your stuff, kids. You just went out and ran hard and then reflected on the run afterwards.
Yes, in 2005-06 there was no Strava then. I recorded everything in a paper diary, which I'd been doing for years, and that would include how many miles my shoes had on them, what the weather was like that day, and how I felt.
Interestingly enough, that seems to make a comeback recently with journaling and various YouTube running channels selling paper running journals.
There is something quite nice about flicking back through your diary at the end of the year and reading what you'd put for each of your runs.
So the third session that got done into sub-3 marathon shape was a midweek marathon effort section within a medium long run.
So session number 4 is a favourite of mine.
And what might that session be?
So it was the 400 metre reps.
400 metre intervals, a very popular session, I think made famous by Emil Zatopek. Yes, Zatopek famously got up to doing 40 times 400 before he won those 3 gold medals at the 1952 Olympic Games.
And I didn't quite get to that level, I can assure you. So what I did was 15 times 400 metres with the 200 metre jog recovery. So the time I was running those repeats was 86 to 89 seconds.
And I believe at the end of those reps you added a little spice in as well.
Yes, that's right. So at the end of doing those 15 times 400s, I would do 10 times 100 metre sprints with a walk back recovery.
So those 400s really developed 3 things. The first was Dawn's VO2 max.
The second was being able to efficiently utilise oxygen.
And the third one was clearing lactate through her system. And those sprints at the end?
Yes, they allowed me to run with good form and to run fast on tired legs.
So the fourth session that got done towards that sub-3 marathon were the classic old 400 metre repeats.
And of course they are still carried on today by the one and only Kipchoge. The long run is the key run of any marathon training block. I built my long run up to be one of my key workouts of the week. So I would do a long run in the morning of 20 miles with about 3 miles at the end at marathon effort. In the afternoon I would then do another run which would add up to the marathon total. So for instance, if I did a long run in the morning of 20 miles, I'd then do 6 miles in the afternoon. If I did 22 miles in the morning, I would do 4 miles in the afternoon. This helped me to have a massive endurance engine, and this is something I truly believe you need to run a fast marathon. A long run can leave your legs feeling very tired, which is very understandable, so it's really important that the second run is done on a soft surface. I was very lucky that I owned a treadmill, so my second runs were mainly done on a treadmill, and if they weren't done on a treadmill, then I would do it on an off-road surface. The pace on the second runs were never important, and I would run as slow as 10-minute miling. My legs were always tired on these second runs, but that was fine because I was going to feel tired at the end of the marathon. What they allowed was me to develop the strength to be able to keep going at the pace I eventually was going to run the sub-3 marathon at. So the fifth and final session was the double long run day. This would add up to the marathon distance, with a long run of 20 plus miles in the morning, with the long run ending with about 3 miles of marathon effort, and then the second run, as I've said earlier on a soft surface that was done at a very easy pace. So I hope you've enjoyed this video and you've got something out of it. If you have, please give us a like, and if you haven't already, we would love you to subscribe.
If you got something out of Dawn's top marathon tips, we think you'll enjoy watching her nail the Abingdon Marathon this year.
So until next time, keep on keeping on.